Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, my very growing baby. I finally mastered the strength to actually sit down and have a chat to this camera instead of just narrating my stories or like how I usually do with the past few videos. So I'm going to tell you how it came about that I became a physiotherapist for the government. And this is not even just my story, this is everyone's story, majority. But what happened is basic things happened. For example, I went to a primary school, then went to a high school. Then in the last year of high school, I applied to universities, to a few, but I got accepted at the University of Pretoria. That's where I started my physiotherapy for 4 years. After 4 years, everyone is mandated here in South Africa to work for the States for a period of 12 months, which I did in the Northwest. What happened is that my final year in university, I was in... Oh, that's the year the COVID happened. So a lot of scheduled blocks that I was supposed to do, I didn't get to do, but the year still carried on. So when I was placed in the Northwest to do my ComServe, it was in a district hospital, so there wasn't a lot happening, but also a few things were happening. After the 12 months, then I started working for private. I spent 1 month unemployed, then I moved to private. In the private, here's what happened. I was so privileged. I work in this very nice neighborhood, Pretoria North, and what happened there is that majority of my patients were so wise and matured and eloquent and just affluent, everything you can think about. So up to this point, I was just like, okay, I have the degree, great. Now I have a job. I go to work, come back home, go to work, come back home. Okay, what must happen after? I don't think I had dreams back then. But that's what happened. My patients, those type of patients you treat, they will ask questions like, who are you? I mean, yeah, you're a physio, but what makes you different from the other physios? What makes you think that you deserve my money? I mean, yeah, it's about the medical aid paying, but how do I know that you're worthy? I could go to the next person. So they ask quite serious questions sometimes, like, what are your dreams? What are your goals? Okay, you're working for this practice. Why is it not your practice? Do you even love your job? Actually, what do you do on your free time? So that actually made me to start questioning, am I really passionate about physio? And which part about physio am I passionate about? And then it was then within 4 months of that employment, I actually realized that, you know what, I don't know which part of physio I'm passionate about. I don't even know why I'm doing this. So I decided, I was like, okay, you know what, let's find an employment in the government. And we're not just going to go to any government. We are going to go to an academic hospital, because an academic hospital deals with all the different sections of physio. So as you know, I'm hoping that you know. If you don't know, now you know. You're gonna know. In physio, you have the neurophysio, you have the ped physios, you have the sports sports injury, then you have the trauma physio, you have the respiratory physio, you have the outpatients department, you have the orthopedic department, you have the medical department, you have the people that deal with claims. So I was like, okay, due to me being a final year in COVID and during COVID times, I didn't get to explore all the nice parts about physio. So I was not sure what I'm passionate about. So that's why I started applying for all the academic hospitals only. I didn't want to do the small hospital. I applied for Bara, Steve Biko, but I still applied for the previous one I had for my ComServe. So then after another 5 months, I think, or something like that, eventually 9 months into my private, I eventually got the public employment that I wanted. But the first one I got was at the hospital I did my ComServe at. And then they come together. So I got the job at the hospital, I did my ComServe, and I also got the job at the new employment that I work at, which is a very, very big academic hospital. And I didn't want to be rude, so I went and I worked at my ComServe hospital for 2 months, and then I resigned, aka asked for a transfer to the academic hospital. And that's what I did. And then I started working at the academic hospital. Why did I choose the academic hospital? One, like I said, was to explore all the different parts about physio, until I find my passion, because it was, I didn't want to get, I wouldn't say bored, but I didn't want it to be painful. So in this new hospital, it's a very big department. There's like about more than 40 physios. If it's well staffed, it has like 50 physios. So that's a lot of people. And I wanted to come here because I wanted to learn everything in terms of clinical work. Also learn how to work in a team, because the other hospital had we were like a team of like 5, 6, 7, and then in private it was just me, the receptionist, and the owner, and the patient when they come. So it was very small. So I wanted the big academic hospital to learn communication skills, admin skills, because they are also important, leadership skills, because if you're in a group of 50 people, you have to learn to lead yourself, and I'm sure sometimes you're forced to lead the other people. So then I started working here. The plan I had was that, and it's still in place actually, is that I would like to believe that it can take a solid 2 to 3 years of experiencing all the different parts of physios before you actually decide that this is the one I'm passionate about. At least for me. There are some people, students, they already knew that, oh, this is the one I want, and then they just go for it. Because I did my final year in COVID, where a lot of the sections we were supposed to go and learn and work as a student, I never go to. That means I had never even experienced some other parts of physios. So that's why I started working for this big academic hospital and the government. Now, if you become a qualified physio, there's 2 routes you can go. You can go in private, you can also go in public. In private, you can work for another practice, you can still work in the hospital, or you can become the owner, or you can work with the sports team, right? In the government, it's usually like one-way route. You can work for the hospital, or you can work in the clinics, or you probably can get some managerial position when you have gone up the ranks. But we always start majority. Up to this point, what I know, you always start as a basic physio, right? So why am I saying all of this? Because if one person sees this video and they're inspired and they're like, I want to become a physio and I work for the government, I want you to know that if you meet a lot of physiotherapists, they're probably going to tell you that, oh, physio, sometimes I can say it's a very not a rewarding career. Sometimes I can say it is. Sometimes there's very minimal incentives. Sometimes they would say that I've learned a lot. But personally for me, and what I've experienced is that where I work, I can tell you 95% of the people actually hate their job when they work for the government. They don't like it, but they still wake up every day and come to work. And I'm just like, 99% of the time you're complaining about your managers, your work, your paying, the salary. And it's tedious, it's boring, it's annoying. So if you decide that you want to become a physio in the government, I want you to understand that you must have goals. And there must be a reason why you feel like you want to come. You have to have a passion for physio. Physio is about helping people. But just like any other career, you always have to start at the bottom. You're not going to become a physiotherapist and then you're hired and then you're going to earn 80K per month. Unfortunately, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to have to start as a bottom, as a ComServe, And then once you finish your ComServe, you have to look for a job. You could be lucky and get a job that pays maybe above the minimum wage that the government is giving, that the private is giving. Or it could be, unfortunately, not a nice thing where you're being underpaid. That actually happens in this career. Depending on which aspect you look at it, you will always complain. If you planned that you were going to become a physiotherapist and you were just going to become a physio and then work for the rest of your life, then you're going to spend all your life being unhappy. When you're beginning in private, you might actually earn way less because they're just like, you still new, you don't have any experience. Post comes of like, why do you think you must earn $1 million? And then you start from the ground up. The difference between another physio and another physio is actually the mindset. If you have goals and you know where you want to go, you will grow and you will get where you want to. And the salary might actually not matter. And if you're passionate, the salary might actually not even matter. Also, if you're very rich, the salary might not matter. But if it's none of that, just like... Also, when you're growing in this career, be patient. You're not going to become a physio and in 1 year now you're known everywhere and you have this practice that's booming. It's going to take time, So patience, and that's not even physio. In anything in this life, you're going to need patience. But yeah, that's my story for today. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and ask questions if you really are invested. I don't mean like trying to just help the algorithm, but I mean like if you actually have proper questions. And if you don't have questions, but you know somebody who might actually need this, kindly share. Yes. Okay. Ciao. See you on my next video. Gosh. Wow. On my next video. Gracias.